How to stop making yourself depressed and anxious. The struggle to overcome mental health challenges such as anxiety and depression can frequently feel like an uphill battle. This is a normal occurrence. This is especially true when you become conscious of the likelihood that you are a contributor to the emotional misery that you are experiencing because of yourself. This is especially true in situations in which individuals are aware of the fact that they are a contribution to the emotional anguish that they are experiencing within themselves. When a person is experiencing these symptoms, there is a considerable danger that they may fall into patterns of thought and action that will not only make them significantly worse, but will also make them significantly worse. It is imperative that this possibility be avoided at all costs. It is possible that you will be able to assist yourself in recovering control over your mental health and improving your general well-being if you acquire understanding regarding the methods that can be utilized to break these cycles. The acquisition of additional information is the means by which one can gain this knowledge. It is essential that you make an attempt to combat the negative thoughts that you have in order to bring about changes that will have the ability to have the most substantial influence imaginable. Every single one of us possesses a critic that resides within us, and it is continuously reminding us that we are not good enough or that things will never get better, that we are not good enough. This critic is constantly telling us that we are not good enough. It is true that this skeptic is a part of our company. Internal conflict may be the root of the internal conflict that can lead to a downward spiral of feelings of inadequacy. This inner debate, which can progress downward, may be the source of the internal conflict. This internal discussion may also progress in a downward direction. Instead of allowing these views to have an effect on how you feel about yourself, you should try out the strategy of reframing your ideas and see how it works for you. The following is a method that you ought to investigate more. When you become aware that you are going through the process of developing negative thoughts, you should make an attempt to fight them by adopting a more balanced point of view. This will help you avoid falling into any negative thinking patterns. Instead of telling yourself, "I'm always failing," you should remind yourself, "I've succeeded in many areas and failure is just part of the learning process." This will help you avoid feeling negative about your performance. By doing this, you will be able to prevent yourself from feeling upset about your performance. This approach is more effective than any other way of dealing with the situation. Another common activity that is connected with people is the practice of catastrophizing, which is commonly understood to mean anticipating the worst possible outcomes in every circumstance. Catastrophizing is a behavior that is associated with people. The conduct known as catastrophizing is one that is typically linked with human actions. This tendency, which leads to the generation of a feeling of dread that can be overwhelming, is one of the factors that contributes to the development of anxiety. It is also one of the variables that contributes to stress. It is possible for these feelings to develop as a consequence of this inclination. Two strategies that you should prioritize in order to be effective in overcoming this difficulty are to keep yourself in the here and now and to engage in activities that require you to be mindful. In the event that you experience yourself sinking more and further into the worst-case scenarios, it is absolutely necessary for you to bring yourself back down to earth. There are a number of realistic choices available to you in order to achieve this objective, including engaging in a breathing exercise or paying attention to your surroundings. Not only does this practice assist you in breaking the cycle of anxiety, but it also provides you with the opportunity to assess whether or not your concerns are justified. Simply said, it is a situation in which both parties benefit. Another activity that has the potential to heighten feelings of concern and sorrow is the act of repressing one's own thoughts that one is experiencing at the time. Specifically, this is due to the fact that suppressing one's emotions is a sort of self-defense. On the part of a substantial number of the individual population, we have been told to keep our composure and to repress our sentiments. The directions that have been provided to us so that we can carry them out are as follows. But repressing one's feelings does not make those feelings disappear. Rather, it just makes them more strong over the course of time for the individual. Repressing one's feelings does not lead those feelings to disappear. Specifically, this is due to the fact that suppressing one's emotions does not result in the sentiments disappearing. To ensure that your mental health remains in excellent condition, it is necessary for you to grant yourself permission to express your feelings. You are necessary to do this in order to keep your mental health in good condition. It is recommended that you participate in activities that will assist you in releasing feelings that have been bottled up inside of you. Participating in activities of this nature will prove to be useful. Keeping a journal, having a chat with a friend on whom you can rely, or pursuing creative outlets such as through music or painting are some examples of the kinds of activities that are included in this category. Other examples include activities that fall under this category. In order to fall into the trap of overthinking, which is a common mistake that a lot of people do, it needs a lot of people to fall into the trap. The tendency of people is to overthink things. It is not uncommon for us to come back to events that occurred in the past or to become captivated with decisions that were made a considerable amount of time after they were made when we are thinking about things. This is something that happens quite frequently. This pattern of rumination has the ability to worsen emotions of anxiety and to prolong feelings of hopelessness for a longer amount of time. This is because it exists for a longer period of time than traditional patterns of ruminating. You need to set time limits for yourself and make sure that you stick to them if you want to break the habit of always thinking too much about something. You should give yourself a set amount of time to think about a problem, and after that, you should make a genuine attempt to move your attention to something else. This is the best way to solve a problem successfully. There is a specific amount of time that you ought to allot to yourself in order to give yourself time to examine a problem. While engaging in activities that keep both your mind and body active, it may also be useful to engage in activities that help you redirect your thoughts. It is possible that this is a good strategy to achieve this goal. Examples of activities that could be useful include going for a run and practicing meditation. Both of these activities are examples. The two activities that are being discussed here are examples of activities. The cultivation of self-compassion, which is an essential practice, is not the least crucial of the elements that are taken into consideration in this discussion. Due to the fact that the vast majority of us are our own harshest critics, it is possible for us to develop feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness. This is because we are the ones who are most likely to be critical of ourselves. Self-kindness practices are more beneficial than berating yourself for perceived flaws or mistakes. Instead, it is more beneficial to participate in techniques that encourage self-kindness. The reason for this is that activities that encourage self-kindness are more useful than other types of activities. You should treat yourself in the same manner that you would treat a close friend who is going through a difficult time. Rather than expressing criticism, you should offer support and empathy. You should treat yourself in the same manner. It is of the utmost importance that you apply the same principles to yourself. You can liberate yourself from the burdens of mental anguish and resentment that have been carried over from the past if you learn to forgive not only yourself but also other people. Because you have the ability to learn to forgive yourself, this is a possibility. You have the ability to free yourself from the necessity of carrying out these tasks by employing a strong approach that is available to you. To get to this point in your journey towards better mental health, it is extremely necessary for you to set aside some time to reflect on the events that you have had throughout your life. This is the only way that you will accomplish this goal. I want to urge you to engage in some self-reflection by asking yourself questions such as, what particular negative thought keeps bringing me down? I hope that you will find this to be an enjoyable activity. The issue that arises is, how frequently do I tend to assume the worst possible outcomes? There is a possibility that if you make an attempt to respond to these questions, it will offer you assistance in detecting patterns and routines that are contributing to the emotional difficulties that you are currently experiencing. This is something that you should consider doing. There is no quick treatment for anxiety and depression. Rather, it is a process that requires consistent effort, thought, and, at times, support from other individuals within the community. There is no magic bullet for treating these conditions. Under these circumstances, it is not possible to find a quick solution to the problem. You may be able to regain your mental well-being and reclaim control of your mental health by challenging harmful ideas, engaging in mindfulness practices, allowing your feelings to flow freely, reframing excessive thinking, and fostering self-compassion. Regaining your mental well-being and regaining control of your mental health can be accomplished through the use of all of these beneficial methods. It is important to keep in mind that change is a process that takes place gradually, and that seeking assistance from friends, family, or experts can make a huge impact in the direction that you choose to go in. Keeping this in mind is of the utmost importance. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.